spread out through space and time. And so when I'm able to get a telepathic impression from somebody at a distance, it's not because I somehow jumped out there and got it, but because at some deep level, my head and the other person's head are co-located.
We become entangled all the time when we communicate telepathically. Those experiences are so striking. I literally can read your thoughts if I become entangled with you. And such things happen. There are distant viewing experiments. There are even experiments now that you are seeing light flashes and your brain potentials picks up the signature of those light flashes, what is called evoke potential, that can be measured in an EEG machine connected to your brain. And I am sitting over there, no light flashes, I cannot see you, and still my brain potentials, because I am correlated with you in terms of intention, I intend to be directly communicative with your experiences. That intention produces me, gives me the capability of simultaneously having the similar brain potential in my brain. It was first done by Jacobo Greenberg at the University of Mexico and now repeated by Peter Fenwick in London.
So let's say you wanted to, you have interested in this notion of entangled minds, entangled bodies. How would you demonstrate that in the lab? The way that we do it is we take two people and we simply ask them to keep each other in mind. We entangle their minds by asking them to do so. Just keep each other in mind. It's the mental equivalent of a physics experiment where you're entangling people. Then you wire them both up physiologically. So you might measure the heart rate on both of them, brain waves, skin conductance. You measure what's happening physiologically. Then you separate them into two places so that no ordinary form of sensory leakage can pass between them. So they can't interact then anymore by conventional means, as is done in a physics experiment. And now you do the equivalent of poke one of them and see if the other one flinches. And if it turns out that you can poke that person and that person flinches as a result, or at the right time, that's a way of demonstrating that they are still entangled even though they are no longer in the same place. What we're looking at is the brainwave. This is the raw brainwave electroencephalogram. This is skin conductance level, and this is respiration. There we go. It's going to run all by itself now.
They had wired me up and locked me in this room, a massive multi-ton Faraday cage used by the military to isolate sensitive defense computers. The shielded room was riding on springs to further eliminate all sonic, vibrational, and electromagnetic interference. Meanwhile, Mark sat in another room watching a monitor. When my picture flashed on, he was to focus on me. Computers collected our unconscious responses to see if somehow, some way, we were entangled.
You can see when the sending occurs, there's a big arousal effect here. And this is the sending side, and this is the receiving side. So what we're looking for is on this side, a response. It's possible that that is a response. I'm pulling the data from these computers into this one where I'll be able to do the analysis. We ran a session with a sender and receiver. The sender is the red line, the receiver is the blue line. Beginning of the stimulus is here at 100 and the end is at 200. So what we're looking at is 10 seconds before the stimulus itself, and then 10 seconds after the stimulus in each case. So here we're finding the skin conductance relaxing and then meandering. The stimulus occurs and there's a big reaction in the sender, which is what we would expect. And what interestingly, here's the receiver relaxing, the stimulus occurs and suddenly starts relaxing a lot quicker and gets to the end of the period and stops relaxing. So this is somewhat unusual in that you wouldn't expect skin conductance to suddenly drop. But actually, I did an analysis to see whether this is a meaningful drop, and it turns out that it is. Significantly faster drop than you would expect by chance. So that's kind of unusual. So on average, I would say that looking at this one session with two people, it looks like the receiver is responding to what the sender was trying to do, to mentally connect. In a large-scale experiment, we would do many sessions like this. We might be doing 30 or 40 sessions like this and then combine all of the data together to see whether we're dealing with something which is true on average. But that's the result of this experiment.